This is Mrs. Springman, and today we're going to do our first math lesson from home. So I brought a few things home with me today so that I could remind you about what we learned about in our classroom. I know it's been a little while. So the first thing I have is our number bond mat that we use in class. Okay? And what I want you to remember is when we are using our number bond, we are putting two parts together or we are taking two parts apart. So I want you to remember that these bottom circles are our parts, and then we're going to put them together up at the top. So do that with me. We have part, part, whole. Do it one more time. Part, part, whole. Okay, so I want you to think back to when you were at school and we would use some cubes. So the first thing I'm going to do is use some red cubes. So I have 1, 2. And then I'm going to take some blue cubes. And for blue, I have 1, 2, 3. So I have my red part and I have my blue part. I have 2 and I have 3. So now we're going to put those two numbers together. So first I'm going to take my red cubes, move them up, 1, 2, and then my blue, 3, 4, 5. So I have 2 and 3 is 5. Now remember, we can write this as a number sentence, just the way I said it. 2 and 3 is 5. So I'm going to go ahead and write that right now. So if you look down here, I'm going to write, my first group was the red group. I had 2. 2. Then I'm going to write the word and, my sight word. And then I had some blue, and there were 3, so I will write 3. 2 and 3 is 5. That's what I said, right? 2 and 3 is 5. But now we have learned that in math class and as mathematicians, we are going to use our math symbols. So instead of my and, I'm going to use my plus sign, and it looks like this. I know that my plus sign tells me when I'm adding two things together. I'm putting two groups together. So 2 plus 3. Now for the word is, I need my equal sign. Just a line on top of another line. And that means the same as, because 2 and 3 together is the same as 5. So let's read this number sentence together. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Do you remember doing this? Okay. So now I want you to think about how we can do math at home. Because you may be thinking, well, Mrs. Springman, I don't have any cubes at home. I don't have a mat. I don't have my dry erase marker at home. Okay, but we can still do math at home, and let me show you how. So, bye-bye cubes, bye-bye marker, bye-bye mat. So, all you are going to need at home is a piece of paper and something to write with or draw with. So, you can have a plain white piece of paper. You could use paper out of a notebook. Maybe someone at home has a notebook. You really could even just use a piece of paper that maybe you did your work on last week and you have a back that you can write on. So once you have your paper, you're going to need a pencil. So paper, pencil, or crayon. Now, you need something to count. Like we talked about. You know what? If I wasn't a teacher, I probably wouldn't have these cubes at home. So when I think of things to count, I have a few things here that I've brought to show you. Okay? So one of them is some cereal. So here's some Cheerios that I can use for my counting. Okay, maybe you don't have Cheerios. Maybe you have Fruit Loops. Maybe you have Lucky Charms. Maybe you have Captain Crunch or Cookie Crisp. Any of those will work just fine. Okay, I also have some beans. You can count beans, frijoles. If you have those at home, that will be great for counting. Maybe you have some snacks, like some crackers or some pretzels. I've got some pretzels here. Oh, I could definitely count those. Maybe you've got some noodles from your macaroni and cheese. Yeah. Or since it's getting close to Easter time, maybe you have some jelly beans that you could use to count. Or maybe you have Mrs. Springman's favorite, peanut M&Ms. Oh, yeah. And then maybe you have some other things sitting around at home, like we have some beads that you could count, or my girls have hair ties. We can count hair ties. Got little barrettes that you put in your hair to count. Also, I found some little chips, little coins from a game that my kids have. So you can count those too. Really, anything little that you can count will work perfectly fine. So for today though, since we're getting close to Easter, I have a few little erasers as well. So I'm just going to put a couple little piles next to myself. So when you have what you need, so you're going to stop this video and you're going to make sure you have a paper, something to write with, and something to count. Go ahead and press pause now. And when you have all the things ready, you can push play. Are you ready? Okay. The first thing we need is a number bond. Since I don't have my mat, I know how to draw one. So remember, we're going to start at the top. We're going to make the big circle for our whole group. Remember, it needs to be big enough to hold the things I'm going to count. So I know this circle is big enough to hold my little erasers here. Then you're going to draw the sticks down. And then I'm going to draw the circles for the parts. Okay, and then at the bottom, I still have some room to write a number sentence because that's what our job is today, working on writing those number sentences. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to put something in the first group. So I think I'm going to put some little bunnies in my first group. Here we go. I've decided I'm going to put 3 pink bunnies in my group. 1, 2, 3. And then I think I should put some Easter eggs in there. So let me go ahead and do that. And I'm going to put 3 Easter eggs in there. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 bunnies and I have 3 eggs. So now I'm going to join those together at the top of my number bond. I'm going to count as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 bunnies and 3 eggs is 6. So I'm going to write that number sentence. And I know that I have to show my 2 parts together with a plus sign. So my first part was my bunnies. And I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start my number sentence down here with a 3. Backwards C, backwards C. That is how I make a 3. Now I know I need my plus sign because I added my eggs to my bunnies. So I'm going to go ahead and write my plus sign next. Now I'm going to think about my next part. What did I add? I added those 3 eggs. So I'm going to write another 3. So now I have 3 plus 3. I'm showing that they are together. Now I need to know how many I have all together. So I'm going to go ahead and make an equal sign. because we know that 3 and 3 together is the same as having 6. I know I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could also remember, I had 3 bunnies here. So I could just count on 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I have finished my number bond. I have finished my number sentence. And we just did math at home. Okay? So now I want you to decide what you want to do for your next number bond. I'm going to go ahead and take my counters off. Hopefully you've picked something to count. And you need a clean space on your paper. Go ahead and draw your number bond, your whole group, your 6 for your number bond man's legs, your part, and your other part. And remember to leave room down here at the bottom to write a number sentence. So now it's up to you. I want you to decide how many will be in your first part, how many will be in your second part, and then I want you to join them together. I want you to actually move them just like I did. Then I want you to think about your number sentences, okay? And I want you to write out your number sentence. When you're finished with that, I would like you to open your Seesaw app, click the activity, and I want you to take a picture for me, okay? So I can see your wonderful math work. We will continue working on our new math that we have been learning about taking away next time. But for today, I want you to practice how we can do math at home.